Well, hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Realine podcast where we talk about faith, family, and your money. I'm your host, Brytton Rogers, the founder and the CEO of Realine. And wow, we're grateful to have you here. It's getting dark here in Franklin. We've been recording all day, me and the team, and we're back for more. So, hey, today we're gonna really kind of just dive into this idea of work and talk to you a little bit just about how that we are to do that unto the Lord and really just kind of what that means. And now you've probably, if you're a follower of the Lord, you've probably seen this or heard it in church in Colossians 3:23, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But I think this whole idea of doing our work unto the Lord is something that has really evolved over time for me. It's something that I, starting out in ministry for my career, I started out. Let me just give you a little backstory. I started out doing internships. There was a guy named Kevin Wethington. I don't know if he'll ever watch this podcast, but Kevin Wethington was a guy who was an executive minister at Lakeside Christian Church in Northern Kentucky. And Kevin took an interest in me. I went to church there in college, and I went up to Kevin one day and I said, "Hey, I hear you're the executive pastor. I would love to learn more and learn under you." And Kevin kind of gave me my first go. And so he had me come over to the office periodically when I was able to, and I would do some odd jobs here and there, do some tech related things, some finance related things, and I ended up getting an official internship there. It was a lot of fun. So I was at Lakeside for a year, and then I did two other basically year-long internships in the church as well after that, before moving to Tennessee. And so I very quickly, because I was in church world, very quickly grew into this mindset that working unto the Lord just meant through ministry. And I basically lost that when it came to business. And so later on, my view of that changed after I got into the business world. I won't say corporate world, because I feel like where I worked wasn't per se corporate. From an outward appearance, it was kind of, but from an inward appearance, I know that it wasn't. And so my view on Colossians 3:23 changed over time. And so let's just go ahead and read it. For those of you who are watching who you might not be a person of faith, this is from the Bible, in Colossians 3:23, where it says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. If the Lord Christ you're serving, anyone who does wrong will be repaid for their wrongs, and there is no favoritism." And so, man, I got so caught up in this when I was in the church, just thinking like, hey, the only work that is good work is basically to bring people to Jesus. And I realize now that that's not necessarily just the case. And so when I think about realignment and think about business owners and kind of pair all this together, I start thinking like, wow, we can actually do work that is unto the Lord in our different lines of business, in our different industries, in the coffee shop industry, in the engineering industry, in a variety, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being whatever career you aspire to. We can do our work as unto the Lord. And I think that it's just super, super important to actually do that. But don't get me wrong, ministry obviously is so important, and I love the church and I love the work that we do. In fact, we actually work with a couple of churches through Realine, and so we actually get to full circle go back and actually work on finances for the church and get to be part of the church from a business perspective. And I know some of you are going to be rubbed the wrong way when I say that, but you have to think about, like, let's get into it a little bit, right? Like, most churches in today's culture, especially the ones that are mega churches, we'll just call them, have millions and millions of dollars flowing through them. And I think that that's something that's not talked about enough is like we view the church as a ministry, and we don't view it as a business. And I think that that's correct from the standpoint of, like, yes, we are in the business of saving souls. We're in the business of teaching lost people to find hope. We're in the business of, getting people plugged in and having a relationship with a community and with Jesus. But I do think that we kind of just think that money just flows through the church, and these who touches it, I don't know. Do you know who touches it? Do you know who provides money for the the millions of dollars auditorium you're sitting in? Like, somebody's doing that work. Like, somebody's doing that work and taking care of the business side of the church, so that the church can function, and so that the church can thrive, and so that the church can continue to serve and to meet lost people where they are. So I don't want to lose that visual or that aspect. And so I think when I wrap my head around that, that's when I really started thinking about, we can do work no matter what line of business we're in unto the Lord, as long as we're glorifying Him through it. It doesn't mean that by being an accountant that I'm going to save lost souls and bring them to Jesus. I hope so, and that's something that we're trying to do. But 9 times out of 10, it's probably not. More of the impact that we have here at Realine is with our customers and with people who don't know us, and being that example of bringing them from, let's talk funnels, right? Okay, so we're going to bring them top funnel down into the funnel, right? Like down toward the bottom. Well, what is the bottom? Right? What's the bottom? The bottom of it is not just that they convert into business, but that it is that they have a relationship with Jesus. And I think that it's a little bit of a different perspective when you're dealing with business owners. Like, I'm not out here trying to convert all my business owners to Jesus, right? Like, some of them already know Jesus. And so I think more what I'm getting at is the more of this sense of, you don't have to be in this special ministry position to do work that matters, to do work that's unto the Lord. And I think you just have to be really honest with yourself and say, what work am I doing today that I can actually, if I'm a nurse, I can serve people right where they are, and I can be Jesus to them. I can be that physical presence of Jesus to them. If I'm a lawyer and I'm in a negative, divisive courtroom, how can I still emulate Jesus through the words that I say? How can I do that as an accountant? How can I do that as we're doing bookkeeping for people who are running businesses and they're working 16-hour days? Like, how do we do that? And I think that's something that's so important for us to figure out, is like, how can I do my work truly unto the Lord and honor Him through that? So here's what I would say is, if you are in a position today where you say, oh man, I hate my 9 to 5. I just like get up and I go to work and I hate it, and I hate every aspect of it. I would say, number one, like, get some counsel outside of outside of here, outside of maybe even, like, obviously we love that you're here, but there's people who are even better equipped than us to talk to you about, like, your career. One of the best guys that I know is Ken Coleman. Ken Coleman helps you find the thing that you're passionate about, the work that you love to do, and he's got a career assessment that I would recommend that you take, and we'll drop that in the comments. But find work that you're wired to do, work that you really, really love doing. Don't just settle for this 9 to 5. It pays the bills, and I hate my job and I hate my day, because that trickles into other areas of your life where there's no realignment. So you want to be realigned. Get realigned with work that you love to do and that you aspire to do. The second thing I would say is, once you've found that job, like once you've found that career path that you long for, think about, how can I use this to glorify the name of Jesus? Like, how can I literally, even if it's, hey, I work at McDonald's, and no offense to people who work at McDonald's, but if I work at McDonald's which is a entry level job, right? That pays a low wage typically, not maybe in every place, but typically. And you say, "Hey, I'm a cashier," right? Like I'm just serving people and taking their orders. How do you emulate Jesus through that? Well, I would say customer service. Like customer service in today's world, in the world of robots, and the world of AI, and the world of automation, like some places don't even have cashiers who are taking your orders. I would say if you're a cashier and you're watching this right now, how can you emulate Jesus? With a smile. Literally just your smile alone. Literally just being kind to someone and saying my pleasure. Like that's the thing we all love about Chick-fil-A, right? Right? Like we all love that about Chick-fil-A because they say my pleasure, they take care of us, they're quick, they're fast, like, and we love that personal touch. So how can you do that in your role today, or in the role that you aspire to here soon? So I would say find work required to do. Number two is just really emulate Jesus as best as you can, and then from that, how can you invest in others and help them do the same? After you're in that position, how do you do work that's unto the Lord? Here in Colossians that we're learning about, I would say for me, that's been one thing, even in my career in 6 years, the last 6, 7 years, we don't deal, up until this point, I didn't deal directly with customers. I was behind a computer 8 hours a day without talking to our actual customers. So how do you do that? How do you serve? Well, one of the ways that I figured out how to serve was to serve the internal customer and not the external. So my team, right? My team is the internal customer. I'm serving them, or the other teams inside the building that I was in. How do I serve those teams the best way that I possibly can? Or how do I serve a vice president or a CFO? Like, how do I do that? And I think you have to just sit back and think, here's the cards I've been dealt. Here's what I can change. Here's what I can improve. And here's what I'm going to do going forward to glorify and to live out this verse here in Colossians of doing our work that's unto the Lord.